Our first speaker is Greg Rohan, who started collecting coins in 1970 at the age of 8. And by the age of 10, he was buying and selling from a dealer's table at coin shows in his hometown of Seattle. At 16 years old, he was running full-page ads in Coin World and traveling cross-country to coin shows. He graded coins for PCGS, and in 1987, he joined Heritage Auctions. He is now one of the owners and president of the firm. Greg divides his time between Dallas and New York, overseeing the Heritage office in New York City. For the last 32 years, Greg has and continues to work with many of the largest collectors, collections, and estates that Heritage handles. Greg?
Thanks very much, Donn, and thank you to the ANA pardon me, for holding this event. I think this is very interesting, and I look forward to hearing what the fellow panelists have to say. So the topic, what is the future of numismatics? I'm going to start off with the bad news. So the bad news is, when I was standing in the back of one of our auction rooms with one of my colleagues recently, he said, "You notice a lot of gray hair in this room? Like all of it?" And I said, "Yeah." And we talked about the aging demographic of coin collectors. It's not as bad as stamp collectors. Stamp collection, I think the median age of the Lynn's subscriber last year was 74, and this year it'll be 75, and next year it'll be 76. And I don't hold much hope for the stamp collecting hobby, purely because of their inability to embrace certified grading and the dealer's reluctance to get rid of 400% markups. But fortunately, we're not in the stamp business, we're in the coin business. And we're coin collectors. And so someone might say, well, if it's graying, if there's a lot of white hair in the room, you know, what's the future like for coin collecting? Are there new, younger collectors coming along? One thing I would say is that the reason, I think, for the aging demographic is that it's a generational shift. I made a list on the back of a napkin yesterday thinking about talking today, and I wrote down all the big collectors whose collections have been sold just in the last couple of years. Names like Eric Newman, Don Partrick, Brent Pogue, Bentley, Joe Thomas, Greensboro Collection, Gene Gardner, just to name a few. And when I got done with the list, I made the list of the names, and then I wrote down next to it what the value of each of their collections was. And this was just literally while I was waiting for my lunch order to come. And I listed 17 collectors and collections, and it added up to $700 million. This is $700 million in coins that came onto the market. That cash came from somewhere to buy those coins, and the cash went out to the consigners, probably never to come back into the coin market again. And the market absorbed it pretty well. Now that's just 17 collectors for $700 million, so obviously it's well north of $1 billion in coins that have been sold. And the reason didn't have anything to do with need for money. All the people that I listed there are very wealthy. There's no need to, for walking around money for them. It was because of age. It was their time. They either had died, they were older, they were planning their estate early, they were 80 years old or thereabouts when people usually start thinking about it. Usually they start thinking about it in their 70s, and maybe when they get around 80 plus or minus, they start thinking, gee, I don't want to leave this weird asset for my family to try to mess with. They know what to do with the stocks and the bonds and the real estate, but they've all told me not to leave them that. So it's just a generational cycle. We're going through one of those right now. So what's the future? I think the future is really bright. And I was reminded how bright it was just last week. I was looking at either Coin World or the Numismatist, and I saw pictures from the ANA Summer Seminar. And I saw all these fresh-faced, nerdy kids, just like I was at their age, attending the summer seminar. And they were posing for pictures, and they were having fun, and they were doing exhibits, and they were having YN auctions. And they were as enamored and engrossed with coins as I was when I was 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. And there was a lot of them. And I thought, wow, that's really great. What I would encourage everybody to do is to be supportive of young people. Heritage has a summer intern program for people who have demonstrated a certain prodigy in numismatics. And we also have a formal intern program. Brett Sharville's one of our alumni from our intern program.
2 summers ago.
And I think that's great. We have more applicants every year for our summer program and for our intern program than we can handle. And I know the PNG's done a great job, and the ANA is helping to place interested young coin people. I was fortunate. I worked in a coin shop when I was a teenager throughout my misspent youth, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. The last thing that I'll close with is I think we can encourage more people to come into the hobby through continued investment in technology. That respects people's time. It shows them there aren't any games being played. It puts the novice collector on a level playing field with Kevin Lipton, and that's darn hard to do. And that's how you're going to get big collectors coming in with serious money who were coin collectors as kids, but now they've got some money and they have interest and they want to go back to their childhood hobby. We need to attract the new blood, and I think that that's the way to do it. Support the young people and give them all the tools and embrace technology that respects their time and levels the playing field for all. I've been told that my time is up. I went over 19 seconds. Thank you very much.